Радий представити вам нашого наступного спікера. Це пан Майкл Bociurkiw, речник спеціальної моніторингової місії ОБСЄ в Україні. I'm glad to introduce our next speaker, Michael Bociurkiw, who is spokesperson OSCE Special Monitoring Mission in Ukraine. Please. Thank you. Translation, please.
Okay. Добрий день, дорогі друзі. Вибачте, ми трохи спізнилися, було пробки там. Apologies, we're a bit late. There was traffic outside. Now, we had a press briefing yesterday, and what I'll be doing is reiterating some of the key points from there, because I think many of you were unable to attend. And we also thought it's important to try and clarify, number one, the mandate of our mission, and secondly, the situation concerning our missing colleagues. If you'll allow me, first of all, I'll just give you a very brief update on the security situation as reported by our monitoring teams. We're finding that the overall security situation in Donetsk region remains very volatile, with sporadic infighting between various groups. Public security and safety is of the highest concern. Now, the situation in Luhansk region is volatile, and other parts of Ukraine remain mostly calm. Now, to bring you up to date on the situation regarding our missing colleagues, on Monday, which is now a week ago, at around 1900, we lost contact with a team of four monitors who were on a routine monitoring patrol in the eastern part of Donetsk Oblast. Our latest information is that they remain in the oblast, and we are still trying to reestablish contact with them. And then on last Thursday at around 1900, a second team was stopped in the town of Storodonetsk, and that's about 100 kilometers northwest of Luhansk, by armed men at a checkpoint. And that team consisted of 4 internationals and 1 Ukrainian translator. We initially had contact with them and were able to determine that they were stopped at a roadblock. Now, we have reported in the past that there was no reports of violence in the area where they went missing. On the issue of roadblocks, it's important to explain that there's a whole bunch of different types of roadblocks. Some are semi-permanent, some appear out of nowhere spontaneously, and some are kind of mobile checkpoints. And we're also, I think it's fair to say, finding that a lot of the checkpoints or roadblocks are controlled by different groups, and they're not necessarily all connected. So what are we doing in response to the missing colleagues? Well, of course, we're continuing to utilize all contacts at all levels to seek their return to their respective bases. This includes high-level government contacts, including with the Ukrainian government, diplomatic channels, and also discussions with non-state actors. We've been on the ground in this region for about 2 months now. We know many of the people on the ground who hold sway over these areas, and we're familiar to them. I think it's fair to say is, for the most part, we're viewed as a very neutral, objective body. There are 2 more important points I wanted to mention. One is that we encourage any groups holding our colleagues, or who may be holding our colleagues, to get in touch with us. And secondly, I wanted to say that if there's going to be an announcement of any release, it will come from the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine. And obviously, we discount the use of any information coming from third parties on their release. We've been asked often if we're staying in the region, and yes, we are. We plan to maintain a presence in both Luhansk and Donetsk. Of course, this implies that we've really increased our security reviews. We do them daily, sometimes hourly, because the security and safety of our monitors is our #1 concern. And I also wanted to say that after being 2 months on the ground under very trying circumstances, it's very common, almost expected for us to reconfigure some of the teams. Many of them, especially in Luhansk and Donetsk, has been working under very trying conditions. Currently, our mission strength consists of 324 individuals, 324. That includes 294 international staff and 20 locals. And then just to wrap up, a quick roundup of what we're actually doing here, why we're here. The Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine is now almost 2 months old and stands at, as I said, well over 200 monitors in 10 cities across Ukraine. And we have people from more than 40 countries working as monitors, including from participating states, of course, and including even from the Russian Federation. And we continue to receive new monitors now almost on a weekly basis. As many of you know, we're here due to the PC decision of the OSCE, unanimously endorsed by 57 participating states, including the Russian Federation and Ukraine. We're here at the invitation of the Ukrainian government, and our mandate basically consists of two pillars. One is to monitor and to report on reported events, and then the second one is also to facilitate dialogue. I think, well, the last thing, of course, as we have said in the past, we do voice concern about the worrying escalation in the eastern part of Ukraine. We have and we continue to call for an end to the bloodshed and for maximum restraint from all sides. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, I will. Okay.
Michael Huysen, ARD German TV. So do you have contacts with the people who are holding your folks hostage? And if yes, are there any demands? Do they demand anything for the release of the hostages?
Well, we've established communication with a whole set of people, governmental, non-state actors, not direct contact with our colleagues. And that's why, again, I wanted to reiterate that anyone who may be holding or responsible for holding our colleagues, we'd be, of course, happy to hear from them and start a dialogue.
Hello. Question about the second part of the mandate you mentioned about facilitating dialogue. Could you just give us an outline
Sure.
of how that's gone over the last 2 months?
Well, actually, it's very robust earlier on. The facilitation of dialogue included dialogue with civil society. You'll recall there was a time when many buildings, for example, were being occupied or actually being in the process of being unoccupied and turned to back to their normal use. So our monitors did play a role in facilitating that. We also, after the Geneva statement, you remember the 4 parties to that, almost daily dialogues here in Kyiv with the signatory parties, and we were a participant. And I think it's fair to say that was a very useful dialogue that took place on a daily basis, especially it allowed us to share a lot of the information that our monitors were seeing on the ground. Don't forget that we do have several teams in other parts of Ukraine. They're very busy talking to different groups, religious groups, civic groups, politicians, journalists about the situation on the ground. We are, for example, keeping a very close eye on the situation of media here in Ukraine. You know that in the eastern part, the media is under threat. In fact, today there were some reports of more kidnappings of editors and journalists. So we've in the past voiced our concern about the threat to media freedom in some parts of the country.
Дякую, Майлко. Людмила Олійник. Скажіть, будь ласка, в продовження другої частини полегшення діалогу. Чи маєте моніторинг зв'язків в центральному офісі ОБСЄ? І які там зворотня реакція моніторингова? Тобто діалоги тут продовжуються, дійсно багато спостерігачів. І яка зворотня реакція з центрального офісу?
Well, yeah, the dialogue, I neglected to mention we have a big team of monitors here in Kyiv. We have quite a big head office. And the team here in Kyiv has been quite busy. For example, they've been monitoring the situation in Maidan and reporting on it. As that team grows, they'll be going further out into the oblast. And on the more kind of political level, when the need requires it, then we do participate in dialogue, for example, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with the Geneva Statement partners.
Thank you. Yeah, my way.
Thank you. I'm Sven Dalgaard from Danish TV. Two questions. Do you have, through your contacts, have you received any demands from any of those groups that are holding your colleagues? And second, do you have any possibility to give anything in return? Are you just saying that they should hand over your colleagues and then that's it?
First question, no, we haven't received any demands. Second, I can't really comment on that. It's speculative because nothing's been asked of us. So I think fair to say we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But we've, said that the most important thing for us is for our 8 monitors now, the international monitors, to be returned to base as soon as possible.
Thank you. Any questions more? Thank you very much, Mr. Bociurkiw, for your time, and we expect to have some more new information as soon as it's happening.
Thank you, and we'll remain accessible to you. And really, our Twitter feed is one to follow for immediate updates. It's OSCE_SMM, and we'll update you as often as we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again.